to turn a blind eye and admonish anyone who is critical. It's a cult. I mean, you might as well guzzle some more fucking Kool-Aid. And what concerns me about this is I know that there is a large cohort of those like global news watching, Instagramming, TikToking, dolts that just devour this information fodder, who will say things like, well, if you don't like it, leave. Canada's an amazing country. And it's like, and they say things like, well, it could be worse. And it's like, so that's the comparison? Because it ain't hell, it's heaven? I don't want to compare myself with some goddamn cave in the middle of a desert or some third world shithole. I want the gauge, the comparison, to be compared with other first world countries with a high quality of life. So to be told that, oh, well, you just don't have any gratitude, you were born here and you're just ungrateful. I mean, fuck you. Blow me. That is moron speak. And people should not be shot down for highlighting those things. It's almost like you're a false patriot. You're a phony. The problem with Canadian culture a little bit, again, to be critical, is it's like you don't want to. I mean, there's a reason the stereotype is that Canadians apologize too much, because it sort of illuminates a deeper cultural mentality, which is to not be brash, to not stand out, to not be abrasive, to submit. It's wonderful that we're civilized and courteous of others, and I love hearing sorry about that, sorry I bumped into you, whatever. But the flip side of that coin is a submissiveness that is kind of inherently weak. And so I think that is why you get a backlash from these people when you say things like Canada's a joke, Canada sucks, what a clown show, because it's almost an instinctive lashing out against what is a stereotypical Canadian way of being. You're not supposed to complain. You apologize for everything. You shut your mouth. And if you don't do that, well, you're the bad guy. Something's wrong with you. You must apologize and be grateful for everything. And that just ain't how life works. And I'm noticing that more and more, and I think that's a problem. I always think about Gordon Ramsay. And when he was ascending to the top of the culinary world, his mantra was always, I don't care about positives. I only care about the negatives in terms of reviews. Because the reviews that are positive, he already knows. He's a Michelin star stud. He already knows he's a stud. But some guy says, well, my spoon is a little dirty, or my glass wasn't clean, or, the pasta was a little overcooked. He's gonna take notice of that, because in order to continue to ascend and to maintain, you must be vigilant, and you must be concerned not with what you already know, but with what could drag you down. So I think, Canada could use a little bit more of that. I may be a little negative, a little cynical, but that's just my way. To me, it's because it's the most efficient to highlight the negative and to assess it. Then you can remedy it. I'm not concerned with how beautiful our national parks are, or how great of a first world it is. I already know that. Who gives a fuck? It's great. Yeah, okay, we know that. And I mean, you could even argue that it ain't a first world anymore. It certainly doesn't feel like it most days, especially depending on where you drive, where you go. So for me, I mean, the most productive thing is to focus on the negative so that you can rectify it. I love the fucking Vancouver Canucks, and I shit on them constantly because I love them so much. If you heard me talk about them, oh, they're fucking scrubs, they're garbage, I can't stand them, whatever. But I love them. I can't stop watching them. My whole life I've watched them. So because I'm passionate about them because they evoke that response in me. And my nature is to take the things that are bad and remedy them so that they can be better. Yeah, I'm vocal about the negatives. And I'm not gonna leave fucking Canada because I love this country and it can be better, and I know it can, but it needs to do some serious self-assessment. You know, I've said it before, it needs to look within. You know, it needs to, it has to stop blaming everything. And part of this is all, and I know the citizens aren't all that stupid, part of this is all orchestrated by politicians, by businesses, by lobbyists, whatever. I know it doesn't truly reflect the actual sentiment of the individual, that Trump is the reason for all our problems, or it's, you know, I don't know, some war somewhere, or some fucking obscure thing that is impacting us, but it's not us. I know not every Canadian thinks that, but that needs to be fucking shot down immediately. Unacceptable. In order to improve, in order to progress, you must look within. You must reflect on what weakens you, on what drags you down. And you mitigate your own downside and you accentuate your upside. So what are the things that are great about Canada? Okay, well, our energy sector, insane amount of land, you know, a good culture previously. There are so many things that Canada has that are strengths, and it needs to mitigate the things that are weak. Well, it needs to first identify them, mitigate them, because you're not going to completely eliminate them, but know your weakness and play your strengths, and know when your hand's weak, you know when you're bluffing. And let's be real here. In respect to Canada-US relations, we are bluffing with a fucking garbage hand. We have no say. Yeah, okay, you could argue, you know, pipelines, you know, energy, whatever. Okay, sure, there's a trade sort of arrangement there that is mutually beneficial, and we do hold some cards in that respect. But overall, we're nothing. So I guess I'd like to see Canada continue to reflect on its weaknesses and progress forward knowing what its strengths are, and not pretending and not bluffing. Know your hand.